This is a high pressure pump and control package for producing high pressure water for a misting application or a hydroponics application. It's a lower capacity pump, relatively small, produces 1,000 psi at 0.4 GPM. So it'll do about 20 medium-sized nozzles, 15 to 20 medium-sized nozzles. Now you can see to a degree that there are two boxes here, two electrical boxes, one down below and one up above, and you can see here's the dividing point between the two boxes. They are bolted together, so they're somewhat one unit, and there is an electrical conduit or electrical raceway that goes between one and the other. It's a seal-tight type raceway, so there's no water can get up in between. So we've got wires going in between the panels. The wires on this particular pump are to power the pump and to monitor the pressure to make sure that it's either up to pressure or it hasn't reached a low pressure situation. So that's it. This particular pump has two regulating valves on it. One you can see here, and actually that's a bypass valve that comes around the other side on the inlet. And then it's got one loop regulator, and they're both the same regulator. That actually comes off the discharge. And well, actually the discharge comes out of this lower port here, goes out, and you can create a loop around your building, around your plant, along your, just around, you can create a loop, and then it comes back to this guy right here, this quick connect to this regulator, so you can have a loop of high pressure solution, water or whatever. So, and you can regulate it here, the pressure. And then this line right here goes back and actually goes back into a tank to reclaim the solution. This works best when there's a gravity feed supply into the unit, or if you're going to dump the water, this water would end up going to waste, but that doesn't make sense. Usually you use it on a gravity feed situation. The discharge, high pressure discharge, is over here. We've got a union here to quickly disconnect the high pressure side, and then you got slip lock fittings over here to disconnect the low pressure side if you ever had to change the pump out. Then we've got a hose here. This is just a pulsation dampening hose for the discharge. Since this is a positive displacement pump, it does create pulses of high and low pressure, and this hose just ends right down here, and this hose expands and contracts when you have the motor running and the pulses happening to keep the pulsation down. Comes down here to a discharge gauge that you can adjust, and then we've got a pressure switch here that you can actually adjust for a low pressure setting or a high pressure setting. Then down here is a black line that comes across. That's the high pressure line, and comes out of this fitting right here. This black line here is a very thick 3/8 inch line that can withstand up to 1,000 psi. So that's a bit of the pump there. The incoming line is over here. We've got a valve to feed the incoming line, loops around and comes over on this side, and it actually has the incoming water supply. So in the control box, we've got several different controls. This one's got a few of them just to give you an example of what you can put in these things. This is a timer. It's a 7 by 24, 7 days a week timer that you can set up multiple start stops at different times of the day or night. And then within that timer, this is a cycle timer that you can actually fine tune it a little more during a run cycle, that you can have the pump come on and off. This happens to be a 10-minute timer that you can bring down to just under a minute or so. Probably 10 seconds is the best you can do. And that will cycle the pump on and off. This cube relay here is actually a relay that powers the pump, and that is really powered off this cycle timer. The cycle timer causes that cube relay to come on and off, which actually is the power to the pump itself. Now, this unit has a variac in it, a variable voltage regulator. And the reason for that is to slow the pump down, to make the pump last a long time. So if you wanted to turn this thing into a continuous run system where you would restrict the flow down to a smaller capacity than the pump, so you want to go down just to supply a couple of nozzles, the best way to do it is to use this variac, vary the voltage into this pump, bring it down to maybe half of its speed or a third of its speed. Basically that's getting pretty low, but maybe half of the speed, and then you can run this pump continuously for a very long time. This pump is a continuous duty, and it will run at full speed for a long time, but if you do slow down these pumps, since they are positive displacement, you're going to get the pump to last quite a bit longer. So that's what this red variac does. And then we have one more controller in here. It's actually a control by web, which gives you the ability to control this thing through the internet. You can actually use an iPad, an iPhone, a laptop PC, or a PC or an Android device, and control this control by web, which will be able to control the cycling of the unit also. There are a variety of these controls that actually can replace this timer here, but in this case we're just actually turning the system on and off and this is just for demonstration purposes. So the control by web has an Ethernet connection which actually comes up to this wireless access point. You can have that as an access point, or you can have it as a bridge for security out to another access point or another bridge, and you can control this thing wirelessly. So from there you could hook on to a cellular modem if you wanted to, and put it in a remote location, which I've done that before, and get at it cellularly through a cellular modem, and control and actually monitor alarms, etc. So that's it. It gives you an idea of one of the pump packages I build. This unit can be kind of custom tailored to suit a particular purpose. You could take out this loop regulator if you wanted to, and just have a standard regulator. We could put some solenoids in here through some control off the web by control, and control a couple different zones. There's many ways to go about a misting system, but each system is a little bit unique on what you want to do, whether it's misting by zones, or hydroponics, or anything else that needs some control. So it has to be analyzed on what you actually want to do to give you the best match. So that should do it. Thank you very much for watching. Talk to you later.